Right, welcome to my video, everybody. What we want to do today is try to attempt the February-March 2026 9708 paper 1, the multiple choice paper that was done in February. The mark scheme has not been released yet, so I'm just going to try to think about maybe what the examiner was looking for in this paper. And this is the multiple choice paper. I'm just going to go to question 1 straight away. Let's see the first question. What is not a reward to a factor of production? This one looks easy. We know the 4 factors of production, and we know interest, rent, and wages would be factors of production. If you don't remember this, interest is the reward for capital, rent is the reward for land, and wages is the reward for labor. So C is going to be the correct answer here. The one missing here is which one? Capital, enterprise. So the one missing is enterprise, and the reward would be profit. You should know this from my GCSE. Let's go to question 2. A worker in a factory, in a furniture factory, currently works 10 hours a day. In the diagram WX, I'm going to make this smaller so that you can see the question on the graph. Initial production possibility curve. Changes in the factory cause the workers PPC to shift to YZ. So this is the new PPC. They're producing 8 tables per day and 24 chairs per day. So what will be the workers' hours per day and productivity as a result of the changes in the furniture, assuming the worker is on the new PPC? So this one is quite easy. As you can see, the worker is supposed to produce 8 tables per day. So if they're supposed to produce 8 tables per day, this can be 8 tables, because 0.8 times 10 is 8, and 8 times 1 is 8. So the answer can be these 2. Now let's see which one produces 24 chairs per day. If they produce 2 chairs per day and they work 10 hours, it's going to be 20. So this one, no. So if they produce 3 chairs and they work 8 hours, they produce 24. So that is the correct answer there. All right, I'm going to make it big again. What is choice? Why is choice central to the economic problem? Choice. This one should be easy. Different governments have different objectives. That can be something. Farms have access to unlimited resources. No, they don't. Most resources have alternative uses. That's true. People's wants are limited. Wants are unlimited. So this one is not true. So the correct answer here will be C. Okay, let's go to question 4. Ravi is a public sector worker. Okay, he visits a subsidized state-owned cafeteria daily to purchase mangoes, apples, and bananas for 80 rupees, and then shares his food with Anushka. What is the most likely classification of these goods? So if he's going to buy them, they're definitely going to be private. So if he's going to buy them, they're private. And because he's buying fruits, these are going to be merit goods, because they're fruits and they're maybe less consumed. In the diagram, the original possibility curve is LM, so that's LM. Let's try to make it smaller. What could cause the curve to shift to NP? NP. So this would be something to do with productivity, or a change in quality or quantity of resources. So change in quality or quantity of resources. So those 2 things can make the PPC to shift. So let's see which one here. Reallocation of resources, no. An increase in output per worker. This would shift the PPC to the right. An increase in unemployment. This one. So the correct answer is going to be A. So when there's a fall in the working population, it means probably people left the country, or the retirement age was reduced. So that's why. Let's try question 6. What is cross elasticity of demand? This is quite easy. Responsiveness of changes in the quantity demanded of a good to the price of another. So that's very easy. So responsiveness to quantity demanded, not this one. This one would be PED. I skipped this one because this one doesn't say quantity, this says price. to a change in quantity, not this one, so it should be the price. XED will be given by this formula, percentage change in quantity demanded of good A divided by percentage change in price of good B. That's how you do it. Let's try 7. Question 7. An increased demand for cars leads to an increased demand for steel. What best describes the relationship between cars and steel? So steel is used to make cars, so steel is derived. So this is derived demand, because the demand for steel is, people buy steel to make the cars, so they don't want, the steel is for making the car. So that's what is called derived demand, when you demand something because of what it can produce. Pretty easy. Let's try this one. Question 8. The diagram below shows the demand and supply curve for electric cars. So this is the supply curve of this after subsidy, and this is the demand curve. Okay. So I'm trying to make it smaller because I'm using my phone, but you should be able to get it. The government implements a subsidy for electric cars. Okay, there's a subsidy, so that's the subsidy. So more supply or increased supply. Which area represents the size of the consumer surplus for those willing to buy an electric car when the price is P2? So when the price is P2, well, at this price, the consumer surplus would be the area above, will be this area, TUVW. So just look for the one with TUVW. Some students will confuse this with probably with T. But that would be the correct answer there. 9. Question 9. How might a firm raise the value of the price elasticity of supply of its product? So price elasticity of supply is going to be affected by some things. We know that it's the responsiveness of quantity supplied to changes in price. So basically how easy producers can produce a product. And this one can be increased if there's spare capacity. It can also be increased if goods are not perishable and they can be stored. You know this from economics. And if you don't know the factors that affect price elasticity of supply, just hold on. In my next videos, I'm going to start teaching some economics, and it's going to help you here. So here we're just looking for something to do with how goods can be stored and how quickly suppliers can change that. I think the correct answer should be B, but let's go through the answers. Decrease the amount of labor that it employs. If they decrease the labor, they'll not be able to produce more. Increase advertising expenditure to generate more revenue. No. Reduce the level of stocks. This one is going to do the exact opposite. So correct answer for 9 would be B. By the way, I'm just attempting this paper. If I make any mistake, please tell me in the comment section and we can discuss it. An economy is experiencing a fall in real GDP. Also, a deflation has caused the prices of 4 goods, A, B, C, and D, to fall by 5%. Which good is likely to enjoy the largest increase in its sales? I learned this a while ago, EOIS. So when it's elastic, it's opposite. When price increases for an elastic good, the revenue goes down, and the other side is true, like that. When the price decreases, the revenue goes up. And when the PED of the good is inelastic, when the price increases, the revenue increases, and when the price decreases, the revenue decreases. So when it's elastic, it's opposite. When the PED is elastic, it's opposite. And when the PED is inelastic, it's the same. Price and revenue go the same way. Okay. So because the goods have, the price has fallen, because the price has fallen, the PED should be price inelastic. The PED should be price inelastic. So you're looking for a good that has largest increase in sales revenue. No, when the price decreases, the revenue should go up if it's elastic. If it's elastic, when the price decreases, the revenue goes up. So the PED should be elastic. And so I'm choosing either D here because of PED here, or A. And then let's look at the income elasticity of demand. If there is a fall in GDP, then this good must have for people to buy more of it, it must be an inferior good, because a fall in GDP means people are getting less money, and so this good must be an inferior good. So the income elasticity of demand should be negative, and so I think it's going to be D. Yeah, income elasticity of demand should be negative for inferior, because people are going to buy more, and therefore they're going to make the more revenue is going to be made. And price elasticity of demand should be elastic, so that when the price goes down, the revenue goes up. That's quite easy to see there. What's the definition of a subsidy? Usually some money given to producers so that the cost of production can go down. It's not a maximum price, it could be it's definitely C. Let's go to 12. What is not a reason for greater inequality in the distribution of income in an economy? Okay, what is not a reason for greater inequality in the distribution of income in an economy? If there's a lack of employment opportunities, there's going to be greater inequality. So this one is not true. Decreased welfare payments, this one's going to cause inequality. Increased progressive taxation, this one is a good one. So let's just put a dot there. Poor vocational training, so this one is wrong. So correct answer is C. Yeah, so this one, progressive tax means a greater proportion of tax is taken from people earning more money, and a small proportion is taken from people earning less. Right, let's look at this question 13. I'm going to try to make it a bit bigger. The diagram shows a market where government has set a minimum price, OM. So the price is OM, this is a minimum price. Minimum price should be above the equilibrium, so that's true. And let's look at the question. What can be concluded from the diagram? At prices above OM, there would be a surplus. Yes, that's true. At the minimum price, there would be a shortage. No, that's not true. Prices will fall automatically from OM to OP. Because it's a maximum, because it's a thing set by the government, the prices cannot fall automatically. The minimum price will be ineffective. This one is wrong. So correct answer is B. Talking about C, because the government set the minimum price. If it was not set by the government, the price would have automatically adjusted to OP. But because it has been set by the government, then the price cannot automatically adjust. Let's go to 14. Let me try to make it a little bit bigger. Which type of road must be classified as a public good? Oh, this is a tough one. A road bridge that charges tolls. So if there's a charge, then that one is not true. A road that is closed, no. That's exclusion. Public good should be non-excludable, and should also be, so should be non-excludable and this is quite a difficult word, rivalrous. So a road that is congested, if it's congested, is going to exclude some people maybe, and a road that is used by very few vehicles, maybe this one, D. I'm thinking that one. Let's go to 15. Again, if you think I made any mistake, please tell me in the comment section. I'm just trying to use my economics mind as a teacher here. We'll compare it when the mark scheme comes out. 15. Governments are trying to reduce the burden of transfer payments in economies with an aging population. Which policy would help achieve this? So the government wants to pay less transfer payments. So it's introducing financial support for university students. This one probably not. Linking pension increase to consume. This one they will pay more. Raising the retirement age. Okay, if they raise the retirement age, it means they pay less pension. So this one is most likely true. Reducing state pension to finance an equal rise in unemployment benefit. No, that one also. I'm gonna go with C there. Let's try question 16. At this rate, I think we're going to finish this paper in 30 minutes, which is good. The paper is 1 hour, by the way, so there's never a hurry. So let's go to question 16. What do the numbers represent on the diagram? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 is probably an injection. That one is for sure. This is probably a leakage, or another name is withdrawal. 1 should be factor payments, and 3 should be payment for goods and services. Sometimes can be called another name, but that's more like it. Let's look at 1. So I said 1 should be factor payments, so this one is true, true, true. Okay, 2 will be an injection. Any injection here? So this is an injection, the other ones are wrong. Let's look at 3. 3 would be consumer spending, that's true. And 4 will be a leakage, so that is true. Saving is a leakage. You should know this by now. If you don't know, I'm just going to draw a table here and show you the leakages. Leakage. And I'm going to show you the injections here. I'm just going to write I and J to say injection. So the first injection would be an investment. The second injection would be maybe something like a subsidy or government spending. Some people call it subsidy, you can call it government spending. I'm going to write GS. And maybe exports. And by the way, all these injections have a direct opposite. So something that is not invested is saved. So that would be savings. Subsidies or government spending would go back as tax, and exports would be imports. Quite easy to see. So once you know any 3, you can know the others. Let's see the next question. Question 17. An individual was temporarily employed but found a job quickly. This is very easy. This is frictional. If they found a job, they were between jobs, then that would be frictional. I think so. Let's go to 18. Okay. The table shows real GDP at basic prices. So basic prices have no tax, but they have a subsidy for 2 countries. So country X, this is GDP at basic prices, and percentage service sector, people working in the service sector. This is the tertiary sector. And country Y is 220 in the 20 in the service sector, 20%. What is the most likely reason for the difference in real GDP for the 2 countries? Country X has high level of subsidies. High level of subsidies. Not sure about that. Country X has a high rate of inflation than Y. Inflation, probably not. Country X has higher spending on agriculture than Y. How do you know that? Country X has a higher value. Of course, this one could be the correct answer, because the people working in the service sector and economists that are specializing in the service sector, the service sector pays much more better than the primary sector. So if more people are working, 60% of the people are working in the service sector, then probably that's why this country has a larger GDP. I don't know why we have basic prices here, maybe just to confuse us, but we'll find the meaning. I'll try to find the meaning later. 19. What will not shift the vertical part of the long run aggregate supply? So what will not shift? This is what they're talking about. This is the price level, and this is real GDP. Okay, a fall in factor prices. Again, what can shift this is the same as the PPC we saw there. And then, so this one will not shift the PPC. Immigration, this one can shift. Improve education will improve the quality of the workforce. Technological advancement will improve productivity. Remember, I talked about quantity and quality of resources. So the correct answer here will be A, because a fall in factor prices will not shift the GDP. I'm just going to write that D better. Okay, let's try question 20. Question 20, the table below shows inflation for an economy. Which statement is correct? Okay, let's look at the answers. I'm going to make this smaller again. Disinflation occurred in 2022. Disinflation is when there's still inflation, but at a lower rate. Inflation at a lower rate. So if you forgot this, if this is your table of inflation, and you have maybe inflation starting from this point and then going up and then going down, then going up again, then going to the negative side. So these prices, all the prices, anything above this line would be inflation, but because here the inflation rate is decreasing, this will be the disinflation, and here will be the deflation on the negative side. This is where the deflation is, and this here would be the disinflation. So that is a possibility. Prices decreased between 2021 and 2024. Prices decreased? Probably not. Prices were at their lowest in 2023. No, that one is not true, because prices were still increasing, and they only decreased by -1, by the way. Prices were high in 2021 than in 2023. That's not true. So the correct answer here would be A for question 20. Let's try 21. I'm going to make it bigger now because we have time. The question is tiny. Which policy mainly deals with managing public finances? Public finances, that will be fiscal policy, because this one has to do with government spending, and it also deals with something called taxes. So collect taxes and spend them. Basically, that's what it means. What is not a supply side policy? Supply side policy is quite easy to understand. This one, dysregulating industry to encourage more competitive markets. That is especially supply side. Linking unemployment benefits to obligation to look for work. That is supply side, because they're going to make people work. Tackling cyclical slump by lowering interest rates. That's a monetary policy. I think that's all. Tackling structure by giving grants for labor mobility. Tackling structural unemployment by giving grants for labor mobility. That could be supply side, because they're trying to move this labor to where it can work best. So let's move on to question 23. Okay. Monetary policy can be used to increase the level of business activity. Yes. Which action illustrates this? If you want to increase the level of business activity, then you probably want to have more money in the economy, if you're talking about monetary policy. So you want to have more money in the economy. So let's look for the one that says have more money. Curbing consumption through. This one will not increase business activity. Easing credit regulations for banks to increase lending. This one is true. Reducing government spending. This one is a fiscal policy. Stimulating company by increasing interest rates. If you increase interest rates, there'll be less money to borrow. So there'll be less people able to borrow at high interest rates. People will probably save. So this one is not true. So I'm going to go with B. Let's go to 24. 24. Okay. There's an increase in the income of individuals. Which one of the following shows a regressive tax system? A regressive tax system. A regressive tax system means that a bigger proportion of income is taken from people earning less, and a smaller proportion is taken from people earning more. So the amount of income tax paid remains unchanged. This one could be true. Marginal tax rate exceeds average tax rate. No, this one is not true for sure. The income tax rate remains unchanged. The income tax rate remains unchanged. If the income tax rate remains unchanged, this one is probably not true. The income tax rate rises. I think the correct answer would be A, because if the amount of tax paid, just the amount remains the same, it means people who have their income has increased are still paying the same amount, and therefore the tax system is taking less money from them now. a smaller proportion from their income. So that would be definitely the answer I think is correct. Let's go to 25. Okay, which combination correctly classifies an expansionary fiscal policy measure and its impact on a budget deficit? Well, at this point, because you only have like 6 questions left, I'm going to say again, if you think there's a question I explained that you did not get, please tell me in the comment section. I'll try to explain it better. Maybe we can have a discussion and come to an agreed conclusion. I don't know if economists can agree on anything though. Which combination correctly classifies an expansionary fiscal policy measure and its impact on a budget deficit? Okay, so it's going to be a fiscal policy which is expansionary. So we need to look for that. So this is not fiscal policy. This could be fiscal because this is government spending that. High income tax could be fiscal, but interest rates is not fiscal. Okay, so let's look at expansionary. High income tax is not expansionary, so this is deflation. This is contractionary, and increased welfare spending. This is increasing government spending, so that's an expansionary, and it's going to increase the budget deficit, of course, because they'll be spending more. Let's move on to 26. Let's just confirm 25 is B. 26. What would cause an immediate increase in the deficit in a country's current account balance on the balance of payments? What would cause an immediate increase in the deficit in a country's current account balance on the balance? This is something to do with exports and imports. So government expenditure on education, probably not. A rise in the cost of imported raw materials used in domestic production. This one would definitely cause something like that. So this one could be true. A rise in government in foreign ownership. So if more money is coming in, it means we have more foreign direct investment, which this one does not even affect the current account, if you ask me, because if foreigners are going to be owning companies here, that would probably go to another account, which you don't study in AS. A rise in total wages is earned by nationals working abroad. If they're working abroad, they probably don't affect the current account unless they're sending that money home. So that one not true. So maybe this one, that will be true. Let's go to 27. What must be true for a country whose terms of trade deteriorate? If terms of trade deteriorate, this is going to be export prices. So an average weight of export prices divided by the average weight of import prices. So we're going to look for, if it's going to deteriorate, the import prices need to be rising faster than export prices. So let's look for that. Exports fall, no, it's about prices. So prices, export prices fall more slowly than import prices. So export prices are falling, but they're falling at a slower rate than import prices. So not that. Export prices are rising, but slower than import prices. So maybe that. Domestic goods become less competitive. No, this one is going to affect something else. Okay, let's try 28. This is 28 minutes now. And on question 28, which is very good. Country X and Y both produce and trade in goods Z. Okay, so let's put those countries here. Countries X and Y, and they are trading in goods Z. What may cause a reduction in the quantity supplied by domestic producers of goods Z in country X? So we're looking for something that can cause a reduction in the quantity supplied by domestic producers of goods Z in country X. A quota on imports of goods Z into country X. If you place a quota on the imports of goods Z into country X, it means that the suppliers of goods Z in country X are going to be able to produce more of that good. This one's not true. A subsidy on the exports of goods Z from country Y. So if the exporters of goods Z from this country are given a subsidy, they're probably going to be able to produce more, and therefore the producers in country X are going to produce less. So this one could be true. A tariff on imports of country Z into country X. Tariff. You've placed a tariff on this good. A tariff on imports of goods Z into country X. This one is going to increase the production of that good. It's going to increase the production of the good in country X, because when there's a tariff, it's going to be quite expensive for the producers in country Y. Extra regulation on imports. So this one is also talking about the same thing. So the correct answer is B. Okay, let's finish it. Two more. 29. To what is a depreciation of a currency's exchange rate most likely to lead? To what is a depreciation of a country's exchange rate most likely to lead? So this one means, basically this one has to do with exports. If the currency depreciates, we're expecting to export more. Right, so exports are going to increase. So let's just have that down here. Exports will become competitive, and therefore they will increase. A decrease in inflationary pressures. No. A decrease in the relative price of imports. No, they'll become more expensive. An increase in cyclical unemployment. Okay. An increase in real GDP. Okay, so when you're calculating GDP, we need this factor here. You know that GDP is going to be calculated with this formula. Consumption plus investment plus G, government expenditure, then plus exports minus imports. So if the exports increase, we're expecting GDP to increase, so that is going to be D. And finally, 31 minutes, but we did well. Okay, I'm going to make this smaller so that we can read the question correctly. A country does not trade in services. Does not trade in services. Okay. The table below shows selected balances from this country's current account of the balance of payment. What was the balance on the current account of the balance of payments? So we have trade in goods, imports in goods. Well, I'm just going to put here the money coming in. I'm going to call that there's a name. I'm trying to get it. Inflow. And I'm going to put here the outflow, to try just to make it easy. So the inflow is 30, outflow is 35. I just forgot about the negative sign for now. Primary income is positive, so I'm going to put that here, and secondary income is negative. I'm going to put that here. Then I'm going to try to add this up. This is going to be 39 and this is 37. So let's put them down here. So we need something like 2 billion to balance this, or 2 to balance this to be 39. So I'm gonna go with B here. Right, so that's the end, guys. I'm gonna try to do as many videos as I can on economics. I haven't seen a lot of videos on YouTube teaching students economics. I'm gonna try to do as many as I can, answering MCQs and teaching IGCSE economics, AS and A level. Do me a favor, please subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comment section what you think about my answers. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's my name right there.